We are here with Nigel Eccles, who is the co-founder and CEO of BetHog, which is a new technology gaming company, crypto, online, and he's going to tell us about this. Nigel is probably best known as a co-founder of FanDuel, which a few years ago also was a revolutionary company and which grew into, I believe, a valuation of $31 billion as of its last transaction, its acquisition by Flutter. Uh, Nigel, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Nigel, tell us a little bit about um, what BetHog is and what
Mhm.
vision is for the future.
Yeah. So BetHog is a crypto casino. Now, if you're not into crypto, I can explain that very simple. It's like an online casino, only we take deposits in cryptocurrencies. So the most famous ones obviously are like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but actually, what's most popular of our users are like stable coins, like USDC, USDT. Those are cryptocurrencies, but their price is always pegged at a dollar. And the reason our players use it is because it's it's very convenient for them. In the US, you have obviously we have credit cards and it's easy for us to go and buy stuff and payments. That's not necessarily the case around the world where we operate, particularly for larger amounts of money. And so cryptocurrency is a very convenient way for people to like fund their account and bet. So we're a crypto casino. There's quite a lot of them. We've got a lot of competitors. I think what makes us different is we are very, very focused on the product and building the best product in the market. And one area we've been very focused on is using AI and avatars to create, basically replicate the live dealer experience. So that's quite common. Like Evolution's a leader in live dealer. They have something like 15,000 real dealers that deal from casinos or from studios. We're replicating that with AI.
One of your uh, dealers is a young lady named Sunny,
That's right. Yes,
who is a caricature.
she is. Yes.
So I guess that allows you to have a little bit more fun than a dour old
Oh yeah.
dealer.
Well, we've had, so yes, so we launched our first AI dealer 3 weeks ago. She's called Sunny. Um, we actually had a whole range of personalities pre-launched, and we were deciding on which one to go with. I really wanted one that was kind of darker and more like would more likely roast the player. Um, and when we went through testing, Sunny won us out. She's just like super optimistic. In fact, you can ask her how to play. You can ask her how to play blackjack, and she generally will tell you basic strategy. So if you've got a 10 against a 5, she'll tell you to double. One of the problems we discovered though is because she was so optimistic, she would tell you to double on a 10 and on 11, but also she would tell you to double on a 12, 13, and 14. So we had to work with her personality to be a little bit less optimistic. But yeah, she's very, very optimistic. She's a very fun personality. We're now working at other personalities that we will launch over the next couple of months so that you don't have to be stuck with somebody who's super happy and optimistic all the time. You can get somebody who's like much more negative or much more kind of edgy.
Okay. You could have the personality of your choice.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we want to achieve.
One of the things that I noticed on your website is you have an emphasis on fun.
Hmm.
And, player experience has become this almost meaningless cliche because everybody uses it, including people who provide lousy player
Yeah.
experiences. Uh,
It's like when you're on that, that holding line and they go, our customers are, you are our priority as you wait for like half an hour and it repeats again and again and again. And you get like, somehow I don't think I am, right? Like it's something is just telling me that I am, even though you're saying it.
But I kind of got the impression from your website that it really is an emphasis on fun. So maybe
Hmm?
tell us a little bit about that, since I'm assuming that's something of a differentiator.
Yeah, yeah, it seems crazy. So many of the brands in this space, like betting is an entertainment product. It's a fun product. The reason I'm in the industry is because I love betting. I think it's fun. I've had so many fun betting experiences, and I've said to people, like, I just think the world would be a lot like less entertaining if we removed all of these gambling products, right? And we got rid of Vegas. Everyone sort of had to very seriously take all of their money and put it in a pension. Um, and they couldn't entertain themselves. So I think it is a really fun product. But bizarrely, a lot of the operators in the space um, like have just very generic and boring and bland brands that seem to forget about the fun aspect of it. And even when we were building FanDuel, we were so worried about regulation and AGs and different people and like regulators coming after us. We decided to come up with like a really safe brand. So FanDuel was always very safe. There's a shield. Shield suggests trust. And we didn't feel safe enough to really lean into the fun. And so whenever we started BetHog, we were like, we want something that's fun. Like we want a brand that people smile at. And so that's like whenever we were going through all the different ideas, that's how we ended up with the hog, the pig. And we spent a lot of time kind of giving it a personality, figuring out how it should look, because we wanted to convey that this whole product should be fun, right? And then that should run all the way through the product.
You obviously are on the cutting edge, if that's the right cliche to use,
Mhm.
of technology. Uh, you've got crypto, and crypto has what a lot of people would say are the advantages of security and privacy and so
Yeah.
on. On the other hand, you're in an unregulated
Mhm.
environment pretty much, and there's always the concern, especially when you're dealing with AI and its ability to market so effectively,
Mhm.
uh, a, a problem gambling concern.
Right. Yes.
How do you balance those two?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'm very aware of the issues of problem gambling. So the thing that you have to balance against the fact that for the majority of people, the vast majority of people, gambling is an entertainment product that they enjoy, and they can do it very safely. There's a small, unfortunately, and like other things, like say, I would say alcohol is the best example of this. There's a small minority of people that it's a problem, and it is a really serious problem that wrecks lives, wrecks family lives. Um, and I'm very aware of that. And I think in the first instance, there's definitely responsibility on the operators to ensure that we have all the controls in place to make sure that our product is fun and that we're not attracting problem gamblers. And so we actually do a lot of that in-house, in terms of controls and things to look out for. It's also something that we actually think we can use AI for because and something that we've been experimenting with our AI dealer, that if people say certain things about their gambling, like that they're addicted, that they can't, then she can actually respond to that, which is really interesting. So we've only just started in that. That's something that still is in development, but I actually think AI can be used to improve it. There already is AI therapy products out there that are still very experimental, but we're definitely trying to learn from a lot of those to say, look, we're building this because it's there to be fun. If it's not fun, we don't want that player there. And so, how do we use this technology in order to help identify those players and then help those players get the resources they need in order to to avoid and not be doing something destructive for their lives.
One of the other issues is that when you are online and you're giving away so much information about yourself,
Hmm.
in a way, you've lost your privacy. And with AI, that's compounded
Hmm.
because it's not just here's my, social security
Yeah,
number,
yeah,
my address, and so
yeah.
on. But now that uh, system is is collecting data on all of your tendencies, your
Hmm.
way, your personality.
Yeah.
So there is no
Yeah.
privacy.
Hmm.
How do you address a deal an
It's
issue like that?
it is a huge issue, and it's much goes much broader than certainly even what we're doing. People will tell things to OpenAI that they might not even tell another person. Um, what they're telling them, they now have to have a trust relationship with OpenAI that they don't use that information. Um, you also have to be worried, on a legal, if you got into a legal situation, that's not between you and your therapist or you and your priest. That is, discoverable content that you've shared there. Um, I think it's a huge issue. I think that, ironically enough, one of the things about crypto was that it was a way to create greater anonymity. Now, we as a regulated casino, we do have to do KYC, we do have to do AML. We have to like check that this money is legit. But crypto historically has always been for a lot of people who first gravitated towards it was because they didn't trust co governments, they didn't trust big companies. They wanted to have self-custody of their money that they didn't have a bank. Like very funnily, like this has happened to me and it's happened to a lot of other people. You make a big withdrawal from a bank and they say, "What's it for?" And you go, "It's for none of your business." Um, like this is my money. You're looking after it. Really, it's not your job to police what I do with it. And so that's been a big thing in crypto. I think we are starting to discover with AI, it's like, if it becomes pervasive, just how invasive is it, and what controls do we have to ensure that it's not being misused?
Okay. Well, that covers some of the broad issues about AI and crypto. Let's talk a little bit about BetHog.
Hmm.
Why you started it, where it's at in its development,
Yeah.
how you see it evolving, and what it's going to be when it's fully grown.
Yeah, absolutely. Why we started was we felt that sports betting has seen a lot of innovation over the last 15, 20 years. Just a huge amount. The products today are just dramatically different than even 5 or 10 years ago. Less so with online casino. So we felt that the products hadn't really innovated, and we felt we could bring something. We felt that a lot of the industry had sort of forgotten that they were fun, that this product was supposed to be fun, and we thought we could bring a lot there. And then thirdly, sort of more recently, we really felt that AI is something that actually a lot of people are talking about, but there's very few people products and certainly almost none in this space where people are using it to launch products and using it in their products. And so that's why we've been spent a large part of this year focusing on it and saying, okay, how are we going to use AI to create what we launched 3 weeks ago was this live dealer that, in our view, is getting to the point where actually it's more fun, more engaging, more personable the 90% of the live dealers that you normally get online. That's what we're trying to achieve. And also, this is a live dealer that remembers you. I tell our live dealer, if I tell her my name and I come back the next day, she will remember me. If I tell her something about me, she will remember that. That's pretty cool. I trust her with that information. I think it's really cool that I come back, she welcomes me back to the table. She remembers how I like to play. I think that's a fun thing.
Um, as you said, you got a lot of competitors, but you're not
Hmm.
in this to be one of many. You're in this,
Yeah.
I'm sure, to replicate FanDuel if you can. Um, who are tell us a little bit about the financing. Who are your owners?
Yeah.
What is your plan going forward as you need to raise more money?
Yeah, so we raised 6 million last summer, and that's from a number of VCs, Six Man Ventures, Will Ventures, and Bullpen are three of the bigger ones. Uh, the good news about crypto casino is that it is a business that can get to profitability reasonably quickly. And so we've used that. We were a pretty small team. It's only like 15 of us, so our cost base is pretty low. Um, we plan to be pretty, and we haven't spent a lot of marketing because unlike a lot of our competitors, we focused on product. And we don't want to be out there sort of saying, oh, we're better because here's a bigger bonus. We want to be out there saying, we've got a unique game. No one else has got this. You want to play with us because you want to play with these unique games. And so that means that we've been able to be very conservative with our spend, and then focus most of our effort really just on product and building the best product in the market and unique products. So that's kind of, and we really want to take that and get to profitability.
Now you're a crypto casino. Do you also take other forms of money if
We don't currently, and but we're definitely open to it. We're, we're definitely, we talk to our players all the time. They love crypto, like they love the ease with it, and from an operational point of view, it's actually a lot simpler for us. It's dramatically cheaper. Um, so in the near term, I think we will focus only on crypto. I maybe in 6 months plus, we will then start to look at like fiat currency, but right now it's just crypto.
what markets do you currently serve?
Yeah, so we geo-block the US, and most of Western Europe. We find that our biggest markets are really they're Far East, they are Middle East, and then sort of Eastern and Northern Europe, and then a little bit in Canada as well.
And why is that? Is that because they have rules or because they're
I think it's because like they're definitely markets where crypto has really taken off. They're markets where we can operate in. We can't operate in the UK, we can't operate in the US, so we geo block those. So we really kind of look at those other markets that have high sort of crypto penetration, and those are the ones we operate in.
we've got a president right now who's sort of pro crypto
Mhm.
in the United States. Uh, so I assume your assumption is that, or your premise maybe is the better word, is that over time, and maybe not such a very long time,
Mhm.
it's going to be universal.
Yeah, we like it would be. We think it absolutely should be. Like you look at some of even like FanDuel or DraftKings that are regulated onshore are paying, 15% of their revenue straight to payments. And that to me is crazy. Like that stuff that they're paying MasterCard and Visa and the banks for a terrible service, right? We when we were building, and that's what we were paying, and we would have chargebacks where a player would deposit money, play, lose, and then go to their bank and say, "That wasn't me," and then it would be the onus would be on us, the merchant, to prove that that player had deposited that money, and we're like, "This is crazy. This system where we're paying 15% of our revenue to these guys who provide a terrible service." And there's nothing we can do about it. And so that's one of the things I love about crypto is it massively undercuts the banks and the credit card companies and actually provides us a much better service. Like when a user deposits money with us, that money is with us. We're not going to find out the next day that they decided, no, actually, I don't want to do that. So it's a dramatically better experience.
So if we're going to talk to you again 5 years from now, what would BetHog be?
So I think, our big focus is going to continue to be in building out, using AI to build out sort of companion products. So today it's the live dealer, but that live dealer is doing blackjack, but she could be doing roulette, keno, plinko. She could be playing slots with you. Um, we want to make it more social, and more engaging. We want to make her a companion or him, and whenever we introduce male ones. So that's what success for us will be if you come back in 5 years' time, and this is a really fun place to go where there's actually an avatar that is fun to hang out with, and there's a whole suite of fun games that you can play. That's where we want to get to.
Do you have a play for fun on your site to get people oriented to it?
I actually don't know. I think some of the games do. It's Personally, if there's no money involved, I don't find it very
Uh,
fun. Like I need the risk. I think some of our games do have play for fun or practice mode. But personally, I'm like, if I win and I had no money on it, I'm like, oh boy.
but you've described games that are just that, games.
Hmm.
But we see the gambling world expanding all the time.
Hmm.
And certainly you know that better than anybody,
Yeah,
as we saw fantasy sports become what FanDuel is
yeah,
today.
yeah.
We currently see in the United States the rise of prediction markets,
Hmm.
and people may have different opinions as to how legal they are. That I guess the courts are going to tell us.
Hmm.
Uh, do you see yourselves playing in areas beyond games?
I think like our central mantra of building fun, engaging products. Like it doesn't constrain ourselves just to like casino games. We do have a sports book which is very popular. We think we can do a lot more with it. Um, like I'm a huge fan of prediction markets. Like I've launched four myself from 2001, 2003, and then more recently. I think they're a great product. I don't think they like, we've seen in other markets where people have the choice of both. Like sports books are still the biggest part of the market, but I think there's a real big space for betting exchange and prediction markets. People do love trading. Um, I don't, it wouldn't be a priority for BetHog, but we're always on the lookout for something like, look, that's a really fun product. People would love it. Let's add that in. We'd definitely be open to that.
Yeah. One of the things we've seen is that the more conventional companies are very aware of all these changes, and they've been in acquisition mode recently.
Mhm. Yeah.
W, for example. Um, I think there was an announcement just today, and I'm
Yes.
not gonna, it escapes my mind right this moment who it
Mhm.
was.
It
But
was DraftKings acquired Railbird.
yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Um, I assume that's something that obviously you are aware of as you look
Mhm.
at the future of BetHog as well.
Yeah, like we're not building this to be acquired. We're building it to build a really big business. We think that this market is wide open. Um, and like, our advantage, I think two things is one is a lot of our competitors have forgotten that the core of this product is should be about fun. And number two is I don't think I think a lot of people have forgotten the importance of focus on building really good products that deliver a really fun new experience. We had people in the or in the casino space tell us, well, players don't care about product. It's all in marketing. And I'm like, I fundamentally disagree. Like I think they absolutely do care, and I think we can build a dramatically better product, and that's our plan.
Well, I can tell you that the CEO of one of the more conventional companies, who I happen to know very well, uh, he says, the problem with the casino industry is too many managers and not enough entrepreneurs anymore. And I think maybe that's kind of what you're saying,
Mm,
that you're playing at creating uh,
mm.
the experiences, the fun. That's your motivation,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
I think I would agree with that. I think one of the challenge we've seen in the US market, if you look at the US market, all of the innovation has come outside the regulated market. Now it ends up in the regulated market. So if we go back to, FanDuel launched in 2009 and, AGA, once we got big enough, the AGA hated us, right? And they were like, oh, you guys are not regulated. This is illegal. Well, you know what? FanDuel and DraftKings are now part of the AGA and they're on the inside. And along comes Prize Picks and Underdog, DFS 2.0, and they hate it, right? And they're like, oh, these guys are not regulated. And so, and then we saw it with sweepstakes. Then we were seeing it with prediction markets. And so, feel the biggest indictment of this industry is that we actually can't see innovation within the industry. Like most industries allow for there to be innovation within it. It feels like this industry almost uniquely, as soon as you become regulated, you give up on innovation. Like you basically spend your time managing, what the product set is. and the innovation kind of goes in the back burner because you have sort of captured the market. And that's probably my biggest criticism of the US market. I think it's a really big market, but it feels like between the regulators and the industry, they sort of pushed innovation to the corners, and it has to come from the outside the industry.
Yeah. I mean, you see that in the United States, even in the brick and mortar world,
Yeah,
more innovation has come from Indian tribes
right.
have are much more free to innovate,
Yeah.
come from the regulated world where companies are just so, I won't say that timid
Hmm.
about innovation for fear of alienating the regulators.
I saw it in, it's funny, in 2016, I was called up in front of the New Jersey Gaming Commission, kind of answer for ourselves. And on the commission, one of the commissioners said, Apple has got 1 million developers on their platform, 1 million developers. Las Vegas relies on five, B2B providers, right? He said, if we don't start to like open up and allow for more people to come in and innovate, then we're going to get left behind because our competition is not the casino across the street. It's the iPhone, and it's not FanDuel and DraftKings on the iPhone. It's all these other apps. And I was like, wow, this guy gets it. This is amazing. This is so forward thinking. This is so exciting. And here we are nearly 10 years later, and FanDuel and DraftKings still do not operate in Nevada. So, so I was like, wow. And then I went away going, they totally get it. They totally get it. They don't want to get left behind. Well, here we go. So yeah, it's that to me is very frustrating. It's one of the reasons why BetHog operates internationally. It doesn't operate in the US. There's there's hardly a state in the US that I could open a casino where I can take crypto. And so they're pushing innovation offshore. Yeah, so that would be the biggest thing that I'd love to see change in the next 5 years. Not super optimistic about it, but that's what I'd love to see.
No, things can change very fast sometimes.
Let's see.
Um, it seems like, and that's the way of the world, that things build up and build up and build up and build up. And
Mm,
sometimes when the change comes, it's like a dam bursting.
yeah.
You certainly saw that in sports betting in the
Oh,
United States.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Having said all of this about public companies, would BetHog be public someday?
Um, I never really think about that. I always think about like our focus is always on how do we deliver the vision of building a really great product and a really great experience to the customers. We're venture backed. We know that they're doing that not because, they love the vision, but ultimately they want to see a return. Um, so a public offering would be one way to do that. They realize it. So it's possible. Definitely not a focus right now.
Okay, well, this is very interesting, very informative, Nigel. Anything else you would like folks to know about BetHog?
No, I think we that was a nice coverage of definitely come and check it out. Yeah, we definitely feel that we're building products that are unique. So you will see things on BetHub that you'll not see anywhere else.
Okay, well, thank you for your insights.
Thank you.